Hi, today I want to talk about petrol stations. They have been closing for a couple of years in locations where there hasn't been enough traffic. It is mostly because of people moving away from the countryside to the cities. But it is likely that they will start closing in towns and cities now as well. Petrol stations live by the number of visitors they get, and the number of visitors they get depends on the number of kilometers driven with petrol and diesel cars. So one of the major processes is working from home. Some estimates say that even when people are allowed to work full-time from the office, around 400 million white-collar workers will choose to work full-time or part-time from home. If they were driving 40 kilometers less per week, and I think that's counting low, that would be 16 billion kilometers less per week. Some of that will of course be electric cars that are less used, but most of it is likely to be with petrol and diesel cars. Another effect is that will not be as marked in the next few years is the sales of electric vehicles, but this is also not really clearly understood because it's not the number of cars on the street, it's the number of kilometers each new electric car replaces from the fleet of petrol and diesel cars. And as the electric vehicles that are sold today are mostly going to fairly heavy drivers, it's a lot more than the number of electric vehicles sold per year, which is around 1 million. This is to compare to the total market of 100 million, give or take, personal vehicles sold every year. So maybe that's several percent less driven kilometers per year, even if it's just 1% of the market. Another effect that is very big is the new electric bicycles. The analysts at Deloitte think that over the next few years we will sell around 130 million electric bikes, and that most of these bikes will be used for commuting. That's an enormous amount of kilometers less driven. And the electric bikes are not alone. There are the scooters and the electric Vespas as well. Delivery vans normally fill up at the public petrol stations, and delivery vans are now quickly being replaced with a much more efficient electric delivery bikes that can do 50 to 60% more deliveries per day than a van, because they can scoot around much quicker in our towns and cities. So if we add all of this together over the next few years, it might be as much as 75% reduction in the number of kilometers driven. And as the petrol stations have their economy totally based on the number of visitors they get most of the profits from the other things they sell in the shop when you're there anyway, because you have to fill up the car, then we can see that we might get as much as 75% less visitors, and that will roughly equate in 3 petrol stations out of 4 closing. Range anxiety will all of a sudden be something that hits petrol and diesel car users. They will have to drive much further to get to a petrol station, and that will cause more irritation and cost a lot of extra time.